This is the word of the Lord from October 25th, 2025. What are you producing? Have you asked yourself lately if you are producing the fruit of the Spirit? Are you producing what is expected for visible signs of change? Visible evidence of change? Are there evidence of your change and not just works? The evidence of your change should be a life that demonstrates the characteristics of Christ, the love or long-suffering of Christ, the temperance or self-control of Christ, the gentleness or meekness of Christ, the patience of Christ, the kindness and goodness of Christ, the peace and joy of Christ, and the faithfulness of Christ. How does your life demonstrate these characteristics? How does your life bear the fruit of Christ's Spirit? What He embodied, you must embody. What He endured to produce this fruit, you must endure to produce this fruit. He learned obedience through the things He suffered, and so will you. When He had to deny Himself in His desires and His wants and needs, He did it to produce self-control. When He witnessed the hurt and pain in others and had compassion for them, He produced kindness. When He had to wait through difficult times and still walk in obedience, He produced patience. When He had to reject evil and call out wickedness, He produced goodness. When He had to acknowledge the beautiful parts of His life and the people in His life as gifts from God and not take them for granted, He produced joy. When He had to keep going and believing despite if anyone else understood the plan and the mission and the purpose of His Father, He produced faithfulness. When He had to overcome in the place of chaos and disorder and people in bondage and regions captured by principalities, He produced peace. When He had to be subjected to persecution and rejection, mockery and slander, and even serve as a servant, humbling Himself, He produced meekness. When He had to be beaten and tortured and shamed for sin and experience the wrath of God upon His flesh, destroying His flesh and shedding all His blood for all mankind, He produced love. So what are you producing? If the Son can demonstrate all these characteristics of the fruit, so shall you. So must you. It is required of you as evidence of me. It is required of you to be like me, to show the world me, to lift up me, and to be my evidence. Your fruit is the evidence. For the fruit shows that as if that Christ produced this fruit, so shall you. So shall the sons and daughters do the same thing. As we inherit from Christ, we die with Christ and we rise again with Christ, and we produce the evidence of Christ. There is no separation. The same Spirit within Christ was released to us, and so the same expectation is to us. As He produced, we also must produce. And God knows in what ways He can produce the fruit in us. And it may not be the same way as Jesus, but it will be done however it needs to be done to produce the same fruit. It is on us to yield as Jesus yielded and accept the will of the Father so He can produce the fruit. The same Spirit that drew Him to the wilderness for tempting and testing to start building him up to overcome is the same Spirit in us that will draw us to places, to people, and to situations so that we may produce the fruit. He is expecting us to produce, and there will be no shortcuts. There will be no help. There will be no level of assistance other than from God. It is for you to produce the fruit. And this is a work that God does in us and through us so that we bear the evidence of God. And no one can help us with that process. It is only God, because He is the only one that produces the fruit. And He is the only one that will get all the glory for what we become, just as He received all the glory for the life of Jesus. This is what God is expecting. So you must ask yourself, what are you producing? What have you allowed God to produce in your life? Are you demonstrating all the fruit of the Spirit, just like Christ? Does your fruit bear the evidence of God? Amen.